Hello everyone, welcome to 10-Minute Physiology. In today's video, we're going to be talking about adaptation to light levels, specifically the pupillary light reflex. So with that, let's give it a go. So our eyes can actually operate over a wide range of ambient light levels. So our eyes can operate all the way from a dark black room to a bright sunny day. So therefore, the range in which our eyes can effectively operate are going to be equal to 10 to the 16-fold. So it's because of this that our eyes are able to adapt. So our eyes have to be able to adapt in order to respond to changes in light levels. So the question that we're going to be answering in this video is, how do our eyes respond going from a pitch black room to a bright sunny day, or from going to a bright sunny day to a pitch black room? And we're going to be answering that by looking at the first of the two mechanisms by which our eyes are going to adapt. And this mechanism that we're going to be focusing on in this video is going to be the pupillary light reflex, which is a neuronal mechanism. So let's take a look at what this reflex is. But before we do that, I want to first remind you of the two most important parts of the eye that are going to be needed in order to understand this reflex. So our eye, the two most important parts of the eye that are going to be needed for this reflex are going to be the pupil, which is the hole in which allows light to enter into the eye and therefore hit the retina, and the iris, which is the colored part of the eye. Now the iris is going to be made up of muscles, and these muscles are going to be innervated by both parasympathetic and sympathetic nerve fibers. So the sphincter muscles of the iris are going to be innervated by parasympathetic fibers, which allow the iris to constrict and therefore cause the pupil to decrease in size. However, the iris is also innervated by sympathetic fibers, which innervate radially oriented muscles, and this allows the pupil to dilate. So the size of the pupil is going to be dependent upon the balance between these two autonomic inputs. Now, the specific reflex that we're going to be looking at today, once again, is the pupillary light reflex. And this is going to be the regulation of pupillary size by ambient light levels. So before we talk about the pupillary light reflex, we have to talk about a very important concept first. So in order to understand this concept, let us draw our eyeball. And when we draw our eyeball, you should notice two things. The first thing is that the retina of the eyeball has a left side to it. So we have a left side to our retina, and from the left side, we basically have these ganglion cells. So this right here is a left retinal ganglion cell. And this left retinal ganglion cell takes visual information from the left side of the retina. We also, though, have a right side to our retina. And the right side here has retinal ganglion cells as well. So this right retinal ganglion cell takes visual information from the right side of the retina. Now, the important concept to understand here is that we basically have two fields of vision. The first is going to be the right field of vision, and the second is going to be the left. So the important thing to note here is that when light comes from the right field of vision, the light rays are going to project onto the left side of the retina. So in other words, light from the right field of vision projects onto the left side of the retina, and then this takes the information to the left side of the brain. So light coming in from the right field of vision projects onto the left side of the retina, which takes the information to the left side of the brain. Light coming in from the left field of vision hits the right side of the retina, and then this takes the information to the right side of the brain. So this is an incredibly important concept to understand in order to understand the pupillary light reflex. So now that we understand this concept, let's move on to what this reflex does. So in order to understand this reflex, let's draw our left eye, and now let's also draw our right eye. So as you know from the previous few minutes of this video, we have both a left and right side to the retina for both our eyes. So in our left eye, we have a left retinal ganglion cell right here. And this ganglion cell is going to project into the left side of the brain. And it's going to project mainly into two areas. The first is the lateral geniculate nucleus, And then the second is the pretectal nucleus in the brain as well. So in our right eye, we also have a left side to the retina. And this left side to the retina in our right eye has a left retinal ganglion cell as well, which we see right here. And this left retinal ganglion cell projects into the left side of the brain, projecting into the lateral geniculate nucleus and the pretectal nucleus as well. So in addition to our left retina, we also have the right side of our retina. And the right side of our retina is going to project into the right side of our brain, as we see right here. So for both our left and our right eye, the information from the right side of the retina is going to project into the right side of the brain. And we have a crossover of these fields of vision at the optic chiasm. So this is where you have a crossover, as we see right here. So we have basically information from the left side of the retina being projected into the left side of the brain, and information from the right side of our retinas into the right side of the brain, as we see right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the next important part for the pupillary light reflex. And this is going to be the specific region of the brain called the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. So what we have here is our ganglion cells, which projected into the pretectal nucleus, are going to project onto another cell inside the pretectal nucleus. And it's these cells in the pretectal nucleus which then bring information into the Edinger-Westphal nuclei. So we basically have information from both the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain being projected into the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. So the Edinger-Westphal nucleus receives information from both the left and right side of the brain. Now from the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, we have cranial nerve number 3. And cranial nerve number 3 is going to be incredibly important because it basically projects in the ciliary ganglia to the parasympathetic postganglionic neurons. And these postganglionic neurons, which are from the parasympathetic nervous system, are going to project onto the constrictor muscles of the iris, which therefore allow the eye to constrict. And we get this for both eyes, as we see right here. So this is the diagram that we're going to use in order to understand the pupillary light reflex. So now let's see what this reflex actually does. So imagine you basically have a person and you cover their right eye. So the right eye is covered, it's not receiving any light. So the only eye that is going to be receiving light is our left eye. So basically, let's imagine that we take this eye and we expose it to light from its right field of vision. So the light from the right field of vision is going to project onto the left side of the retina. And this is basically going to initiate a signal, as we've been talking about. This signal is then passed down the retinal ganglion cell, and it goes all the way to the pretectal nucleus. And from this nucleus, we see that it is going to go into the Edinger-Westphal nucleus. But as we see right here, the Edinger-Westphal nucleus receives information from both the right and left side of the brain. So what we see here is that the information that is transmitted from the left retinal ganglion cell from the left eye is going to be transmitted to both of these nuclei here. So as a result of this, what happens is that the cranial nerve number 3 is going to receive information for both eyes from this one eye here. So basically what we see here is this signal is split here, and the signal is going to move up cranial nerve number 3 into the ciliary ganglia of both eyes. Then it's going to move into the postganglionic parasympathetic neurons of both eyes and therefore cause both eyes to constrict in response to light. So what is this pupillary light reflex saying? So the pupillary light reflex is basically saying that the response to ambient light is going to be yoked. In other words, what this means is that an increase in light in one eye causes not only its pupil to constrict, as we see right here, so we had light only coming in through the left eye, which causes this pupil to constrict, but it also causes the other pupil to constrict as well. So what we see here is that if you were to shine light on your left eye and keep your right eye covered, what you would see is that not only would your left eye, which is being exposed to light, be constricted, but your right eye, which is covered by your hand, would also be constricted as well. So it is a yoked response. So that is what the pupillary light reflex does. It basically constricts your pupil, which decreases the amount of light coming into the eye, which therefore allows our eyes to better adapt to light levels. So that's it for this video. I hope this video helped you understand what the pupillary light reflex is, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.